Yes, so Hairless here. Today we are back with Lara Fabian, and this is, excuse my pronunciation, I really struggle with French, Parce Que Tu Pars, which in English translates to Because You Are Leaving. The song was written by Lara and Rick Allison, and on the piano we again see Pierre Grimard. We saw him in one of my recent Lara reactions, Calling You. That was from a 2003 concert. This is from 2002. It's a concert that features many of the hits from her album New. I've not seen anything from this concert before. As the title suggests, it's a French song, sung in French. This video here, the quality isn't the best, but it does have English lyrics on there. Here are the lyrics on the screen now for the whole song if you want to take a read. It's another song about, well, the trials and tribulations of love. Without further ado, let's get straight into it.
Il y a des gens qui partent parce qu'ils ne nous aiment plus. Et puis il y a des gens qui partent parce qu'ils ne s'aiment plus.
Quand on n'a même plus peur, toutes les raisons de rester sont les leurs. Rien ne te retient, surtout pas le bonheur que tu ne cherches plus, c'est plus l'heure. Je suis là pour ne.
There's one bit in that is so nice. I do want to listen to the next verse before we stop for an analysis pause. I just wanted to quickly say that if you're hearing some crackling in the sound, that's in the actual video itself. It's not my video.
Pas regretter l'absence des mots et des liens qui empêchent le silence. Dis-moi s'il te plaît ce qu'on verra trop tard. Le dernier aveu est-il ce regard? Parce que tu pars.
Okay, that I think is the chorus based on the lyrics. We'll get back to this and carry on after we do a little run through of what we've just heard. So if you don't want to hear my thoughts or analysis, go to the timestamp. Lara gives a little introductory speech, like she often seems to do actually, saying people leave because they don't love us anymore.
Et puis il y a des gens qui partent parce qu'ils ne s'aiment.
Or because they don't love each other anymore. I don't really know what because they don't love us anymore means. I'm not sure how accurate this translation is either. Anyway, the music underneath this speech is a simple repeated motif in the piano. We can just about hear it over the screams and the shouts from the crowd.
Il y a des gens.
Wow. It's basically just two chords pretty much, with some rhythmic variations if we think of each finger playing the piano as a different layer, just so they're not literally two static chords. What we're hearing, quite simply, is, let me hop over to the piano to show you. In the bass line, or the left hand, doing this, and it's sustaining this note. In the right hand, we get this. This note clashes with the lower one for some added tension in there, and then it resolves to make this minor chord. Then it moves up to this note. It's funny how this is a simple E chord. You add this G sharp on the bass and it sounds, well, it still sounds quite dark, quite sad. This is the importance of context in music. Take this same chord and apply it in a different context. Now this E chord sounds very different to how we've heard it in Lara's song. One reason for this difference is the falling in the bass in the lower part, and then how it stagnates, how it falls and then doesn't move from there as the chord changes. It really intensifies this feeling of despair, I suppose. We've got some synthy sounding string chords coming in, and they are providing the real rhythmic driving force here. Chum, chum, chum. They are contrasting as well, these really sustained chords we can hear very, very subtly in the background that don't move. There is some percussion, but not enough to hold the majority of the rhythmic energy. It comes in properly at this point.
Tout ne rime à rien quand on n'a même plus peur.
Overall though, it's still a very subtle sound accompanying Lara. Often in music, when the beat comes in, it's a sudden change, but here they've stayed true to the overall feeling. In terms of pitch, her entry is very kind of mid-range. Because of this, she could sing that in a number of ways. What she's opting for I really like. It's this kind of more airy, weaker, fragile sound, quite a vulnerable sound.
Toutes les raisons.
From the performances I've seen by her, she does seem to start like this often and then grow throughout the performance.
Toutes les raisons de rester sont les leurs.
There's nothing too crazy going on yet. She's making sure to get some rhythmic changes in there for a bit of variety. Every performance I've seen by her, she does this. Often you'll have a musical line repeated if it comes in every verse. It's so there's never two that are the same. She always makes sure to get some difference in there. If you want to see any of my previous Lara reactions, see which ones I've done, you can find them in the playlist up here or down below. I'm going to rewind a few seconds because this bit is the bit that I really, really love. Before we listen, I just want to talk about what I am listening to as she sings it. She goes from her chest voice to a light head voice, a very, very subtle vibrato, so those voice wobbles, they're very soft.
De rester sont les leurs. Rien ne te retient.
And then the drop down to this quite nasally sounding with a lot of air to start the note. There's no vibrato. She comes off and then moves straight back up, but now this time with airy vibrato.
Rien ne te retient. Surtout pas.
Why I also love that bit is because we see our first new chord almost 1 minute in, and we've only had 2 chords. What a nice way to introduce it.
Rien ne te retient.
And it's not straying too far from the 2 chords that we have seen so far. So far we had this chord, and now we have.
Rien ne te retient. Surtout pas le bonheur que tu ne cherches plus.
The power that she's known for is there, but she's teasing us. She's staying reserved. Very, very purposefully staying reserved. To do this requires immense levels of control. There's such a fine line and she has complete control over it. If we move forward a bit, the overall power comes out a bit more now. The phrase that I'm about to play, there's less air in her voice, so the sound naturally is more powerful. Kind of like the power or the volume levels have been turned up just a little bit.
Des mots et des liens qui empêchent le silence.
And, you know, we can kind of hear them there, but they're a bit more prominent a bit earlier on. Let me find it. I'm talking about the synth lines in the background.
Je suis là pour ne pas regretter l'absence. Des mots et
I can't tell how much I like them. I find them a little bit odd, but they do provide some nice dissonances against Lara. And I think they kind of create this strangely nice atmosphere or soundscape. A lot of interesting things in this song so far. Let's continue.
parce que tu pars, parce que tu pars, on restera brisé devant l'irréparable. Parce que tu pars, parce que tu pars, on étreindra tout contre soi l'intolérable. Parce que tu pars. Jure que cet échec n'est pas ton avenir. Ce qui t'aura pris la tête, oublie-le pour te choisir. Et si tu veux bien, on cassera la gueule à ce coup du destin qui rend seul. Parce que tu pars, parce que
Dramatic head drop there. It's very cool how she's just sitting on the steps singing this. I don't need to keep repeating myself, as I've said many times in my other videos, what a phenomenal live performer she is. I think this is the first time I've seen her performing sitting down, which is often thought to be harder than singing standing up. You have less support, that kind of thing. Anyway, let's go back over what we've just heard. A few more points to make. We have the chorus. It's a much more full sound. Her voice is so much more chesty.
Parce que tu pars, on restera brisé devant l'irréparable.
The fact she's singing in French complements this music so well. All these guttural, harsh sounds. I don't speak French, but when I try, as we saw in the introduction, I find it incredibly difficult to pronounce things. My mouth just is not built for it. I just can't seem to do it. I mentioned in my reaction to Caruso, I thought Lara did a great cover. Please check that out if you haven't already. Card up here. I said how I think some songs are just better sung in a certain language. It comes down to the sounds, the positioning of the mouth, how much throat is used, that kind of thing when you're speaking the language. French, I feel it kind of allows for this added drama because of these harsh consonants that are produced. She just fully utilizes it to great effect. If she was singing in English, this sentence will remain broken. It's got nothing on the sounds that are coming out. I personally don't think those sounds are pleasant if you just take them by themselves. But in the context of this, I think they add a lot of conviction and emotion. There was a particular case later on, just before we paused. Yeah, here. You know what I mean? Only in French would that work so well. Or maybe it's just Lara. Or both. I mean, yeah, both. Alright, to go back a bit, there was this end of the phrase which I really liked. We'd seen more power in the chorus. Lara finishes the phrase much softer, much gentler. We then get some piano stepwise lines.
Parce que tu pars.
Lara hums almost with this kind of deadpanish expression. Then we get some more stepwise lines in the piano, and then Lara comes in with this stepwise line, a nice handover from the piano to her. Granted, Lara's line is much more of an arpeggio. There are bigger jumps between each note. It's a new musical idea. We're reinvigorated with focus. We're engaged again. Not saying that we ever lost focus, but it's something new. I'm wondering what else is to come. What else new is there? Lara, fantastic as always. And then we get...
Ce qui t'aura pris la tête, oublie-le pour te choisir. Et si tu veux bien.
What we're expecting, that new chord I spoke about earlier, the third chord that we hear. It's such a simple harmonic shift. When I showed you the chords earlier, it doesn't need to change much. That's the one moment of this song that really gets me. The harmonic preparation in its simplicity is just so great. I love it. And to complement it, she does that rocking thing that she does. I've seen that a few times before. I always find it quite emotional, almost as if she is mad, lovesick. If I had a time machine, I'd go back in time and watch this performance there as part of the crowd. And then I'd bet on every sporting event that I know the outcome of and become a billionaire. But first, I'd go and watch this. And from Lara with Love, I'd go to that concert as well. It's got me in the mood for some Je suis malade. And then, just before the chorus that follows, I really like the guitar slide that goes into it.
Parce que tu pars.
Electric guitar, it really adds this level of grit to the sound. And thinking in terms of physical textures, which is often how I think about music, weirdly, it's kind of like an impurity.
Parce que tu pars. Parce que tu pars.
Such power and emotion. Alright, let's carry on from the electric guitar solo. There's only about a minute left actually, so we'll go to the end.
tu pars, parce que tu meurs, on questionnera chaque journée inévitable. Parce que tu pars, parce que tu meurs, on mettra tout contre soi l'intolérable. Parce que tu pars. Parce que tu
Another great performance by her. I doubt she's ever given a not great performance, to be honest. Let's just go back a few final points and then I'll give my overall thoughts of the song as a whole. There's something about a good guitar solo, when done well and when used well. I just think it's really nice. Slide up, the occasional grace note, but there's nothing too extravagant, too in your face. It's not overcomplicated. There are no rapid runs where you can't even hear the notes that are being played because they're so quick. It's just simple, melodic, to the point. How dramatic as well. So we just had that head drop of hers, and then she's kind of just sitting here rocking ever so slightly.
Parce que tu pars.
Oh, hi Lara. I honestly didn't know her face would appear through her hair there. But yeah, it's dramatic. Black and white too. Some images from this video I guess are in black and white. The standout moment though from that last section is of course this.
Tolérable. Parce que tu pars.
That is an E flat. Belted, a very, very chesty sound from her considering how high it is. She's got a bit of a blend in there as well. It's not pure chest voice, too high for that. But still a lot of chest in there. And the expression on her face as well at the end. She looks done, defeated, deflated. Wow. That was a nice song, for sure. Overall, a simple song. And I do think simple songs can be very, very effective. As I probably mentioned quite a few times in the video, I really liked how there were just two chords, prepared for ages, and then just a third chord. Very, very similar to the other two, but the power it held due to the song's overall simplicity, especially harmonically. Yeah, really clever. I like this song and great performance. I don't need to talk much about the performance. Really good. Well, time for me to listen to this a few more times and try and pick up on anything I might have missed. Please comment down below other performances by Lara you'd like to see me do a video on. And as always, thank you for watching. Would appreciate a like and subscribe. If you enjoy these videos or find them useful, would like to support me, you can do so by joining the Patreon linked on the screen or the Buy Me a Coffee linked below. And I will see you next time.